What's going on, PlayDate Community? Welcome back to another episode. My name is Franchovy, and in this series we are building your game. I'm sorry for the little hiatus. I am gonna be back on these episodes. I'm gonna be finishing your game for all of you in the next few weeks. So in this episode, we're gonna be actually making a proper game end and game restart. So yeah, anyways, let's get into it. Let me show you guys how to do it. First thing we want to do is that we want to go in main.lua and we want to add two functions. So we're going to do function game start end and then function game end. So the game start is going to be called to start the game and the game end is going to be called to finish the game. Simple enough, right? Then we're gonna, so we've got this hide menu and we've got this show menu. So we're gonna use this show menu and hide menu inside this game end and game start. So we're gonna do show menu inside of game end. So you can copy that because in it, we're gonna show the menu as well. Then we're gonna have hide menu inside of game start because obviously we wanna hide the menu. We can replace this line at line 67 with game start. And we basically have to take care of putting the things in the game for the game to start. So that's going to include adding the player, adding the particles and everything like that. So, and starting the enemy spawner. So actually, for now, let's just be lazy and copy and paste all this stuff and put it inside game start. So here we're adding a test enemy that we can remove that altogether. So init is just going to show the menu. Then we've got hide menu on game start. We've got adding all this stuff. And so what would be logical here is to do some of the removing in game end. But before we do that, we actually need to make sure that this thing is tracking properly. Because if you're pressing A and the game has already started, you don't want to game start again. So let's go ahead and fix that. Let's go into menu.lua. We've got this show menu and we've got the hide menu. What we're going to do is that we're going to track whether the menu is being shown. So we're going to do local underscore is menu showing equals false. So I'll explain the underscore in a second. Then you go inside show menu. You can do is menu showing equals true at the end of that. And then hide menu is menu showing equals false. Hopefully that makes sense. Then we're gonna add a new function called is menu showing. So function is menu showing, and then we're gonna do return underscore is menu showing end. So already hopefully that gives you a bit of context why we're doing this underscore thing. What we're doing is that we're having a local variable, which is gonna be tracked internally to this file and not modifiable outside of this file. And then we're going to have a function that gets the value of that variable. So basically we're separating out how the variable is used versus actually getting that information. So line 60 in main.lua, we can do if is menu showing open close brackets and playdate.button just press button A, then game start. All right, that looks good. Now, I think we're going to have to put in the game end functionality, but already let's make sure that this works. We've got the spaceship, no spaceship and stuff appearing in the background, but if you press A, then the game starts. So actually that's working well. Now we want to follow up with the player dying. So when the player touches the enemy touches the player, but I think we're handling collisions inside the player, then you basically want to die. So in order to do this, we actually have to change this move by to a move to, which means that we have to do self.x plus vx and then self.y plus vy. Sorry, didn't give the context. We are in player.lua, line 61, and we're doing the self.move by, and we've just turned it into self.move to, and we've given it the current position plus the v, which is the velocity. So that means that we're actually just doing the same thing as before. So then we're gonna expand this. We're not gonna use move to. We're actually gonna, by the way, this pisses me off. We've got this class player, but what we wanna do is that we want the autocomplete to work. So I'm gonna do player equals open close brackets above class player. And I'm gonna do 3 lines @ class, and then player with capital P, colon, playdate dot graphics dot sprite. So this is going to tell our type checking system that player is a sprite, and you'll see that actually life gets easier. So if we do self colon move, there we go. See move by, move to, move with collisions, and that's the one we're looking for. So we're going to do move with collisions, and now that we've changed the syntax, we're able to do this self.x plus vx, etc. So this is what this function returns, which you can see is complicated. We've got a goal x and y going in, and then we've got an actual x and y coming out. So we personally don't care about that because we're not doing a platformer where you're hitting a wall and you can't move further. Instead, everything passes through one another, so we don't care about the actual x and y. However, what we do care about is the collisions that happen in that instance. And each collision is a table with all of these fields. So you've got the sprite, which is doing the collisions. In this case, it's going to be player. You've got other. So in this case, it might be enemy or bullet. Then you've got the type of collision response. We don't care about that. It's going to be an overlap as well. And so overlaps, yeah, true. And then you've got a bunch of different things about like the specifics of that collision, which again, we're not going to care about. So let's get those variables out. We're going to do local at the beginning of that move with collisions line. We're going to do local underscore comma underscore. Those are going to be the two actual x and actual y, which we, as I said, we don't care about. Then we're going to do collisions, and then we're going to discard the last argument. So you don't need to put a underscore. If you want to put an underscore, good for you. So, okay, take these collisions. We're going to go into the next line and we're going to do for underscore comma collision with no s at the end in pairs collisions do. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. That's your classic for loop for a table of tables. Important thing here, we don't want it to collide with anything else but the enemy. So we're just going to check whether the collision has been with an enemy. So if get meta table, open brackets, collision.other, close brackets, dot class equals, double equals, enemy with capital E, then, and then this is going to be collisions with enemy. So we're going to do something like self colon die. I'm going to do on death because it sounds a little bit nicer. Let's make this function on death. So I'm going to go above player.update. I'm going to do function player colon on death, open close brackets. And then here I'm just going to say print you died. Okay. And let's run it. Let's see if this works. Enemies pushing around the spaceship, so we're gonna make sure that that overlap happens properly. So yeah, that's what we're seeing. In order to do that, it's relatively simple. We need to set a collision response. So self.collision response equals gfx.sprite.k collision type overlap. Now I think this does the trick. The thing with collision response is that either it's a function and you can check for what is being collided with, or you can set it as a single variable, which was what I'm doing. Now, I hope I'm right about that. Let's see. Let's run into this guy. And yeah, you can see that it works. So basically now it's a default collision response. Everything is going to overlap. Now, I think we even did this in the bullet as well. Oh, so here we actually use the function, but we don't need to do that. Actually, we can just do it with the variable. Anyways, you guys are learning all the different ways to do it, so yay. So we've got our collision happening. Now, the problem is our player is still alive. What a problem. So we're gonna kill the player. You're dead. Let's make a variable called self has died equals false. So we're gonna track this thing, and on death we're gonna set has died equals true. Actually, we could probably do self colon remove at this point. And then we're gonna make another function. We're gonna do player function player colon is or has died. Actually, perfect. And actually, I think we end up with the same problem as we did before, where the has died needs an underscore to work. So if we're going to use the same exact name, we have to put an underscore in front of the private one. Okay, so player has died, return self dot has died. And what we could do is disable the input, but because we're removing the player, it's not going to update anymore. It's going to be dead. Great. So from main.lua, we're going to go back into playdate.update, and we're going to do if is menu showing, no, if not is menu showing, and player, because we have the reference to player because this is where we created it, colon has died, then open close brackets, then game end. Now, okay, so we can do all the removing of stuff in game end. So I'm going to copy and paste. Actually, let's do it step by step. So I'm going to do player colon remove. So I'll remove it from the, yeah, let's do that now. Remove it from on death. So we're doing player colon remove, particles colon remove, player set particle sprite. No, we don't need to do that. In fact, that set particle sprite shouldn't be in game start. It should be inside init. So apologies. Let's put it back there. And then we're going to do enemy spawner colon stop. I believe that's it. Now there's going to be one thing that we have to do afterwards, but let's try it out like this. Ooh, what's happening? Had died. Oh my god, this is where autocomplete needs to be helping us out, and actually it isn't. Alright, so now we've got our player, and we can check whether it has died. Yeah. So you can see that we still have some things to fix. We need these guys to stop moving. We could, in theory, remove them from the screen, but I'm going to keep them. We just want them to stop moving. And then second problem, when you press A, nothing happens, which is a problem. I don't know why, actually. Let's see. Is this working here? Oh, maybe it's because it's instantaneously dying after that. So that's interesting. Let's do it like this. Let's do hide menu, GFX. So we're line 42 after in-game start. We're doing it after hide menu. We're going to do gfx.sprite.remove all. Open close brackets. So that's going to clear the slate clean of any of these stuff here. And what we're going to do is that we're going to also tell the enemies to check. So we're going to look at enemy.lua and enemy.update, and we're going to do if player and player colon has died. So if player and not player has died. I wish programming was more like English, like if player and not player has died. And then there's going to be one last thing, which is that the player, when you do player colon add, we actually need to move it back to where we want it in a starting position. So in order to do that, we're going to override the add function from graphics.sprite. I'll show you guys how to do that. Super simple. We're going to do in player.lua function player colon add, open close brackets. And then when you're overriding an existing function of your super class, what's important is that you call that same function if you want it to work. So we're going to do player.super.add, and then you pass in self. So we're doing the same thing as here. We're going to use dots because we don't want to be calling player colon super or anything like that, and we're going to pass in self as the first argument there. Comment down below if you need a better explanation, because I can get into it, but it'll take some time. And then we're going to do move to. So we're going to take that function out of the init, and we're going to move it into add. So self colon move to 300, 160. We're going to do velocity equals 0. And I think we can set has died to false as well. And we can remove that from the init as well. So this is kind of like the setup, like the engineering type setup. And this is more like the game setup, like, oh, putting you at the start of the game. All right, let's run it. Let's see if this works. Sorry, gotta remove that breakpoint. And so we're flying around, no! There we go. And so you can see that the enemies are still animated. They're not frozen, but they're stopped. And then when you press A, it resets everything. So guys, we've got a little bit of a game restart loop. I want to get into some fancier stuff like adding particles when you die. I have something in mind that I might implement as well, getting to somebody's suggestion from below. And then we can save the score as well and keep a high score. So I will see you guys very soon in the next one. In the meantime, comment your ideas in the doobly-doo. And wait, is that my thing or does somebody else make that up? Okay, comment in the description below. In the description. Who puts comments in a description? Comment in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.